things that you will never forget as a child: physical abuse syndrome. Although my uncle's passing in 1993, they have said that it was a heart attack since his passing. Being put in place in physical abuse situations throughout your life, which is all you know, and when things go awry, you do not know how to manage it logically to the point where you can be considered an accessory to the situation that is occurring because you are no longer protecting family members from the situation. Could it be murder or attempted murder? I am so glad that I did change my last name and middle name. I called the police officers on my biological parents, my father. Although in this case, I felt that my mother could have done something that, yet I do not know because of her state of mind of being in a battered woman syndrome situation for the year. Dealing with the situation about James Wallace Fall is stressful with the physical abuse that he has due to his sister's kid. Because I got the phone call from my extended family when they said what they said, I told everyone to call 911 and reported because I was still under child protection and witnesses were under strict orders not to be approached by my biological parent. Being grateful for being in an adopted family is a good thing. You do not have to feel that you're a victim of child abuse and does not stick in your life. Although the memories of the physical abuse will always be there and trying to get it out of your life, try to run from it, still sticks inside. I am trying to mend things with him, but he does not want to or take the time to communicate with me. If it were not for the veterans within my extended family, it would be a problematic situation, which is why I was with them for so long. If the extended family would continue being scared, now is the time to come forward. And the other thing is, would my biological mother dares to say yes? He did. That would also aid in potentially having James Wallace Fall for life imprisonment. In 1990, my extended family was threatened by James Wallace Fall, threatening family members that he would kill them if they continued to be me. I am worried about him, who also mailed the house since his father died, as pointed to liquor and other things in the past. I did tell them not to eat it if they did. Please make sure they get to the hospital to make sure that family members did not choose to get evaluated for food poison, because I do not hold her responsible. Yet I don't even know things may have stressed or to know, and to the point that she was numb and could not stand for her right as a woman. I do believe she knew what was going on consciously. I called the police officers on my biological parents, my father, although in this case, I felt that my mother could have done something that, yet I do not know, because of her state of mind of being in a battered woman syndrome situation for the year. I do believe she knew what was going on consciously. She was in denial because James Wallace Fall physically abused her. I do not know the physical abuse that I endured was lot. 1993 is when I left. I am so glad of my extended family for helping me. Yet the Minnesota Department of Human Services dropped the ball relating to James Wallace Fall. I felt unheard for years during my biological father's physical abuse investigation. I genuinely do not know what to say any longer about James Wallace Fall. I genuinely wonder if the medical condition he has now will cause James Wallace Fall to separate from the prison due to his medical condition, which does not seem right if he genuinely did cause family discomfort. I have a feeling in my gut that tells me he did, to get a hold of his sister's kids for the money of veterans' benefit. If I really could prove that James Wallace Fall potentially merited their father and poisoned their mother to get the veterans' benefits view of the kids, I could prove my uncle would have eaten food poison. It could guarantee life imprisonment for James Wallace Fall. I hold in response at times. I wonder if I should or not. I know my uncle that did take out. I know that my biological mother remained emotionally programmed because of being physically abused. I know I regret saying what I said to him. I must forgive, but is he willing to let go of the liquor, the drinking norms? He may be the later relative passing because of his drinking problem and unwilling to put the bottle down and say enough is enough. She was in denial because James Wallace Fall physically abused her. I want family members to say what they told me at that time, but my biological fathers are in prison, yet they never will forget. I want to keep them there. It is up to me because of the threats made in 1990. If I could prove this, that would be my last hurrah, and the feelings that my heart tells me about my biological father. I was so glad that I changed my last name and middle name to remove the stigma associated with a child abuser. I would say yes because I have been to many family members threatened by James Wallace Fall over the years. I met my biological mother in 1990, and my police report my mother that I put in my file she was a better woman syndrome, which means her husband physically abused her. I would think my mother would have enough strength not to allow her husband, James Wallace Fall, to abuse her physically. Still, not same token, better woman syndrome is like going through PTSD and combat, which I can say labeling things as PTSD is not a good thing when it comes to military. It should be considered combat anxiety syndrome. Even actuality physically used it could exist considered PTSD. In her case it should be considered as a maltreated female syndrome. In my case, in 1990, I have seen so much physical abuse in my childhood it is not even funny. It took me several years to finally put James Wallace Fall in prison. It is even worse than when he did with me as his own. Some trying to inform about his behavior, knowing what is potentially occurring. It took my cousin until she was 19 years of age and met her friend who encouraged her to call the police officers on my biological parents, which I am so thankful for. Finally, I existed confirmed for the years. It took my cousin's a long time, and finally, James Wallace Fall was put behind bars for 16 years for good behavior and a 24-year complete sentence. It took my cousin until she was 19 years of age and met her friend who encouraged her to call the police officers on my biological parents, which I am so thankful for. Finally, I existed confirmed for the years. Medical issues or increase of mental illness and death of their father. I also feel that my biological parents, especially my father, wanted them dead to get the veterans' benefits that their father would get if he passed away because they were so young. My biological parents were well versed in poisons from a garden store they owned way back. No one wants to deal with the situation. Unfortunately, the kids were so scared and potentially programmed because of abusing children as he did with me. Now all the veterans in my family have passed away, the ones that he is willing to communicate, although I do wish to communicate with the one in Hawaii more. One that has passed in 1993. I know he was a veteran, and this is where I feel that the federal justice system could intervene to prevent the children of the veteran family being subject to physical abuse, let alone a wife that remained physically abused who was the daughter of the World War II veteran, and the young children's father was a Korean War veteran. Still, at the same token, if he would answer the phone call when I told him something was wrong with his father, that you could contact the nearest sibling to do. Still, Olena grudges against him for being there when he was there for me. Still, they are scared to say to the law enforcement what was said at that time. Now during the court hearing of James Wallace Fall hearing, if he still pled an incident, I wonder if they would be told the truth that time. I'm wondering what would be indifferent if James Wallace Fall pled innocent. I wonder what I would be done and said if I was on the stand testifying against James Wallace Fall. That hurt the most because I would not be here if it were not for the extended family getting me out of my situation. The only thing I regret is the extended family refusing to come forward in telling their story to the Mound Police Department detective, because even if my story is said, the civilian and federal justice system has their hands tied. There are multiple family members yet remember that but do not want to come forward with law enforcement. There are only 3 that remember the first. Sure to I genuinely wish if we could have proven that their father, my cousin's parents, were so given food poisoning to cause them. Was it an actual heart attack? Or was it the food they ate while my parents were at their house one day making steak over the grill? What scares me because of the threat of James Wallace falling to kill Philip Johnson was my uncle died in 1993, and yet my on-again mentally ill mind is still puzzled by that situation. Why did my uncle pass away? Will my uncle ever overcome anguish and alcoholism due to his father's death? He used his family first, and now it seemed to turn to liquor. Never's willing to communicate with his extended family. Would it be possible that the family would be willing to let authorities know what James Wallace Fall threatened them with when I was under child protection and removed from my biological family in 1993? Yes. He used the Bible to justify his physical abuse with his wife and me during my case in 1990. But even my mother feared James Wallace Fall. Yes. My mother is the daughter of the United States Navy World War II veteran in my mind, because coming from a military family as she did, he is passed now. I would say this, though it hurts that extends family that is still alive that assisted me leaving at the age of 16 would come forward to at least the Mound Police Department. I know they were intimidated by my biological father and remained threatened. All of them. There is one mentally ill now. Individuals' conditions and mental illness since 1990. Biological mother throughout her married cousin. Physical abuse throughout childhood. Cousin. Physical abuse throughout childhood. Cousin. Physical abuse throughout childhood. Myself. physical abuse for 16 years. Second cousin threatened to kill 1990. Second cousin threatened to kill 1990. Uncle threatened to kill 1990. Uncle threatened to kill 1990. In 1993, as his passing, they concluded heart attack. First case. And yes, in 1990, I called the police officers on my biological father. Because of the situation in 1993, the civilian and federal system failed dramatically because of what occurred in 1993 with my biological father's sister's husband passing and my aunt becoming mentally ill. Physical abuse caused my cerebral palsy besides what the doctors said it caused during my birth in 1974. In my case, the physical abuse was extreme and overkill. August 15, 1990. Second case. Because I investigated my parent throughout the situation, I March 14, 2010, genuinely believe that I often called the police officers on my biological father. I felt unheard for years during my biological father's physical abuse investigation. Click on the bell if you want to get more videos. Victims, thank you. Please subscribe.